The Roman Dodecahedron. The mystery has finally been solved. These objects, which are sort of maybe 2,000 years old, the 300-year-old mystery as to exactly what these were used for has finally been solved, at least according to you lot in the comments section of the last video. 5,000 of you said you knew exactly what it was. I'm not completely convinced. Not convinced that I don't think it's been solved, but not convinced that some of your theories are right. Instead, I have my own theory on exactly what these were for. I do feel like I have solved the mystery. So this is indeed the last video I will ever make on the Roman Dodecahedron. Now, if you're new here, you might be wondering what I'm on about. Well, I'm on about this object, the Roman Dodecahedron, and a while back I made a video about just these and where we had found them, what areas, where they came from, and a little bit of speculation as to what exactly they could have been used for. And of course, over 5,000 of you commented on exactly what you thought they were for. So then I made another video about these objects, about an archaeological group that found one and then sort of claimed that nobody could have the intellectual property, no one could see it and copy it and sort of make another model of it. Anyway, okay, so I never really had the opportunity to sit down and sort of just consider these objects and what they could have been for in the last video. I sort of really concentrated on the history and where we found them to see if that could help us. But someone's kindly made me all these 3D models, and they're accurate in terms of the markings and the hole sizes as a comparison of the other holes. So all of a sudden now I can sort of take the time to consider what they were for. Last time I think I came up with the ritual, as in they were used as a ritual purpose. I don't think that's true. I've got a new theory. So the Roman Dodecahedron, just look at that absolutely gorgeous object, really intricately made, and there's one over there for you lot if you're looking from that camera. A lot of you said in the comments section of the last videos, Paul, I think you'll find they are not actually Roman, and you'd be right, to be fair, because we found 128 of these and none of them have been found in what you would consider the Roman heartland, Italy, the Mediterranean, Greece, nothing at all in that area. And of course we have no writings about these, no Roman writings, we have no drawings, contemporary drawings, absolutely nothing from that era suggests that it is actually Roman, apart from the fact that it came from the Roman era in terms of the layers and the context. So perhaps, as this has been suggested, they're more like a Celtic Roman dodecahedron. Okay, so before we get onto my idea, my new idea, and of course we'll cover some of yours too for context, let's just cover some of the characteristics because it's hugely important for us in today's discussion. Number one, the location. We've already discussed the location, very much outside of what we would consider the Roman and Greek heartland. So we can safely say that these really weren't a traditional Roman object for whatever reason. Number two, well, we have 12 sides and we have nodules on every single angle. Every angle whatsoever, we have nodules. We have holes on every face and they seem to increase in size as we go around. They don't seem to be completely random. So if we start with a smaller one, we follow a route around it and we get bigger and bigger, or we get smaller and smaller, whichever way around you want to look at it. Whichever one of these we take, we have no sort of obvious markings and symbols that would allow us to pinpoint it to an area or a tribe or anything at all. We have nothing. We also have no markings that are really obvious in terms of where.
No, I haven't got a clue what it is either, but it's been several months since this Roman artifact was discovered in a field in Lincolnshire.
Now, since the time of making that video, I still now receive comments today, even today, a year and a half on, I think it was like early 2024, about your theories. I think it was this, I think it was that, and somebody else's theory. Here, look, here's a YouTube video, this person has solved the mystery. So I want to quickly dive into that in this chapter. Okay, so what I did is I took 5% of the comments from the last video. So we had right 5,000 comments, so I took 250, and that gave us 20 separate ideas, 20 separate hypotheses as to what exactly the Roman dodecahedron could be used for. Now you could probably then break that down into some subcategories, but we'll try and keep this as simple as we can. Let's dive into this. knitting and weaving. Many of you have pointed me in this direction to this video or this video. I'm saying a big no to knitting or weaving or sort of glove making. Well, then surely we'd find them outside of just that Celtic area. And of course, why are we seeing so few? We've only found 128 of these, that's not many. And of course, we don't see anywhere. So there's quite a few negatives there for that theory or that hypothesis. It's not for me. Rat's tail bobbin. Rat's tail bobbin. I don't even know what that is. Bobbin sounds like kind of some knitting, weaving idea. And a lot of you suggested this idea, so forgive my naivety and lack of understanding of that subject. I'm going to say no because, again, we don't have anywhere. Chainmail maker. Chainmail maker's kind of a good one. I like that idea. But again, if that were the case, we'd find more, and we don't. And if that were the case, we would also have more wear on here. We'd have bits that were perhaps broken. Every single one of these found with pretty much intact and pretty much uniform holes. It doesn't add up, at least for the lack of wear reason, probably more. Okay, well, size checker. Size checker is an interesting one because, again, a lot of you commented on this. So in other words, the idea is you'd grab a coin and you'd be able to check the size of it. It would fit in, it wouldn't fit in. But what we've got to remember is a lot of these objects, a lot of these Roman dodecahedrons, well, they're all different sizes themselves. None of these are the same. I don't think that any of these two are exact replicas of each other. Look at these three here. These are all sort of slightly scaled down models. That doesn't work for me at all, purely on the basis that none of these are sort of uniform in their size. And of course, don't forget, I haven't failed to mention yet, I failed to mention the isodecahedron. 20-sided object with no holes in whatsoever. There's only one of those, I think, been found. The isohedron? Oh, forgive me. Measuring or surveying. So I like this. It's kind of a clever idea, and again, there's a whole academic paper on this. Because we've got different hole size holes on either side, we can kind of look through it and measure a distance. I like this. If you hold it at a certain distance away from you, you can look through certain holes, and that would give you a distance of how far something is away. I love that idea. But if we were going down that route, then again, I think we'd find this in more noted surveying writings. That, combined with the fact that we have different sizes, different size holes on different ones, doesn't really add up to me. And of course, we then see some markings on there. We'd see different markings to show different uses. Again, it's a great idea, but I can't seem to back this up with any substance whatsoever. Next up is a hugely popular one, a candle holder. And again, I love that. I could kind of just put this on a surface and it always sits level like that because of the nature of the shape, the dodecahedron shape. Hole in the top, boom, stick your candle in, job done. Love that, but no. Why are we making this of different shapes and sizes just to hold a candle? Such an intricate object when we could very easily make something much more simple to hold a candle. Okay, and finally, again, one of the most popular notions was this is a game or a dice or some kind of device that would be used for playing games. Again, I like it, but we have absolutely zero markings on it. We have nothing to accompany it. We have nothing to sort of say how we would use this. No contemporary writing. It's too elaborate in my head for a game. You could take all the nodules off and it would still look the same with regards to the shape and size and the holes. So for me, it's a big no. I like it, but it's a no. Okay, so what exactly do you think? First of all, do you think one of those that I've already covered and sort of debunked, for want of a better word, said no to, do you think I'm actually wrong and one of those ideas is correct? Or perhaps you have another idea that we didn't cover in that? Well, maybe you do, then let me know in the comments below. But always think of the area, the location, the lack of symbols. Think of all those obvious things that sort of make it easy to say, well, no, the lack of where, that sort of thing. So what did I say? Last time I said I think it's probably ritual. The object feels really good, just hold and feel it. And I wondered if it did have a ritualistic notion to it. But we've only found 128 of these, and even if we scale that up and we do some kind of statistical analysis to say, well, we found 128, that means there were 3,000 of them. That, to my mind, isn't enough to be ritual. We have no writings from these from the Romans to say that all the people of Gaul and Britain and the Celtic areas, they love these objects. We have nothing like that at all to go on. So for my new theory, I'm going to combine a couple of ideas on this. So first and foremost, I truly believe that these had no specific practical purpose, because everything you consider, absolutely everything you consider, always has a downside. There's always something that gets in our way, whether it's a geography, lack of wear, lack of symbols. Now, the one thing I've yet to mention is the test of skill, and a lot of you did mention test of skill, and I like that idea to a degree, but also, well, you can either make something or you can't. Why would you need to make this to test your skill? If you're making something, well, it is either works or it doesn't, so you don't necessarily need to say, oh, I've got one of these, therefore I am qualified. But what if instead this was kind of a combination? We don't need to prove our skill by making one of these, but we did, and we made one because that was what the community had, and it will become the fascination within that community. You hold this and you speak. This was something that was made within the community. That's important. And this was then part of the meeting, part of the system. You hold this and you speak, you have the conch, the item in whatever way it was, sacred to that community. It was made by somebody within the community and maybe passed on from generation to generation. Hence why we find them only in certain areas. Hence why we find them without any wear, any symbol. Hence why we find them of a similar nature but not the same. So yeah, that's my theory. Nothing practical in terms of a physical purpose, not ritual, but for me, something that was symbolic within a community, something that meant something, a meeting place conch or something like that. That's where my money is if I had to place a bet. I've been Paul. If you've enjoyed this little ramble, we'll have a proper ramble next week, back outside exploring some mysteries of the landscape and history. Click on the like button below and we'll see you this time next week.